Awaken to your truth that you are the I Am presence in harmony with the divine. You are consciousness beyond what the body and mind identify. This is Moment to Moment. Host Lynda Hope will remind and enlighten you to know your divine nature. You were born into the body already aware, but forgot it as you expanded your sense of identity, ego mind, pattern behaviors, and habits. Stop sleepwalking and wake up to your timeless, eternal, formless self. Now, your host of Moment to Moment, Lynda Hope.
Hello, namaste, welcome. So happy to see all of you here in this moment. And we are only now in this moment. Have you ever asked yourself about this moment? Have you ever asked yourself, what other things happen besides this moment? Is this the only thing there is? Yes, this is the only thing there is. If you really think about it, this moment is the ever expansive state of consciousness. And everything that arises in your thought happens now, right now. Whatever memories come from the past is remembered right now. Any thought or planning in the future is right now. Nobody has ever lived in the future. It's always been in the present moment. So welcome to the moment-to-moment presence that now you realize is yourself. And through some meditations and through Eckhart Tolle's beautiful video that I'm going to share with you, you'll become to realize that the greatest version of yourself is awareness, is consciousness. And to be in the stream of present moment, to be fully in this now moment, is to feel all of the senses alive, to look around you in your environment. Isn't it beautiful? Look at the flowers behind me. My honey bought that for me. Isn't that gorgeous? See how gorgeous? Just to be able to look at that and just take it all in. Take it all in. And to see the lights around you, to see the trees, and to feel into the body that grounds you in this moment. All of that is deeply understood because the mind chatter is really not activated if you are fully present. If you are fully engaged and you're using all of your senses right now, your ego mind cannot exist in this environment. What is the ego mind doing to your present moment? What does it try to do anyway? Well, we know what it does. It takes you out of the moment. It brings up thoughts. The ego's going, well, this doesn't feel right. I need to be doing something better than this. I can't just be now in the moment. This is not making sense. I need to be, maybe I'm hungry, or maybe I need to make a phone call, or I got to look at my emails and my phone. I think I heard a text. That's what the mind chatter does. It keeps you busy. It keeps you distracted. But if you are aware of the thought that is arising in this moment and not allow yourself to attach to it, not allow yourself to be pulled out of the beauty of this moment that you are, that ego mind will stop losing. It will start losing its power. That's what it does. It will just stop bothering you. It's like a little child that wants your attention when you're on the phone, right? Mommy, daddy, come on. That's the ego mind. Now, most of us don't even realize we have an ego mind. We think that our thoughts are just, telling us what to do, and we listen, and that's life. That's what a human being does most of the time, is they think a thought and they go, hey, sounds good. I think I'll just follow that thought. There's no space. There's no space between the thinking of the thought and the action. And so we're here now to bring a sense of space and clarity. And we're going to now take a beautiful moment to sort of sit in a meditation that I'm going to lead you so that you are anchored in the moment, feeling into this body and awakening to this moment. So let's just take this opportunity to shut your cell phones off, unless you're listening to it on your cell phone, and focus now on my voice. And if you want, you can hold your hand on your heart. When you ground yourself in your body, it's a really beautiful way to bring alertness into this now experience. And I'll ask you now to take a deep breath in and out, and in and out. And for those just listening on the radio that don't really see the visual here, if you hear silence, just know that this is part of the meditation and that it gives you an opportunity to be that stillness, not just mentally, to actually feel and experience stillness is who you are, beyond the mind chatter. So taking a breath anchors you in this present moment. And I want you just to listen to the voice of chanting these beautiful words, I am that I am, because that I am presence is you. I am that I am. I am that I am. You can chant along with me. I am that I am. I am that I am. That I am is consciousness. And you know that in your heart. The mind may not understand because this is not an intellectual process. This is a knowing that you are beyond the mind body of this personality identity. And how do we realize that? By the stillness, by being still and allowing us to feel into the expansiveness of this moment, just to be here now. Be here now. So just feel that sense of aliveness in your body. And if a thought does arise, just notice it. Just be aware that you're having a thought. And that's just coming and going, just like the clouds passing. As a trained meditation instructor, I understand the clutter, the chatter of the mind. I've been on many spiritual silent retreats where for days and days and days we were in silence. And I could witness the thoughts trying to distract me and get my attention. So if you're new to meditation and you're new to this principle of I am, your mind is going to be very noisy. It's not going to like this conversation. It's going to question it, it's going to judge it, it's probably going to turn me off very soon. The ego likes to keep you busy in the mind. It does not like it when you get still. And as I mentioned in the description of this week's show, I was going to talk about happiness. So I'm going to go into that topic right now. I think the ego mind likes that topic, happiness. Why? Because happiness, the ego likes to come up with all the reasons why not to be happy. We're naturally not happy people. If we're very habitual and patterned, the habit of the mind is to complain, to judge, to blame, to do a lot of self-talk. You're not good enough. This is not enough. I don't like this. Have expectations about the day, about an event. And so there's really no room to be happy in that scenario. So we're chasing happiness a lot in the human kingdom. We like to figure out what makes, as individuals, us happy. And there's a lot of conditions to that. So if only I could get a raise, then I will be happy. If only I would find the right partner, I'll be happy. If only I lived in a certain neighborhood or I looked a certain way, I'd be happy. So happiness is all a conditioned dilemma. And what are we going to do with that? How are we ever going to be happy? Well, we can be happy in a conditioned state, but it won't last long. So we get the raise and we celebrate. And months go by and then we're dissatisfied again and we think we need another raise. Or it's not good enough because why? Because again, our ego state is not enoughness. It's never happy. It's not filled up enough. That's why there's a lot of self-esteem issues in this world. Lots of people saying, poor me, things are not working out. I'm unhappy and blaming and pointing fingers at everybody else for making them unhappy. You are not making me happy. You are not saying the right things by me. And therefore, I will never talk to you again. And that's how we get very determined to be happy. And you're not helping. Right? And we all sense this. We all get very strong about our belief systems. The belief system is, if you do the right thing and say the right thing by me, I'll like you, or I may even love you. But if you do things that I don't approve of or I don't think is appropriate, I may not love you anymore. Or I may love you, but I may not like you. There's a lot of that going on in this world, right? And then there's these love languages. I love this. There's the 5 love languages. So this is also funny. So if I think that you love me, how are you going to show it to me? With the 5 love languages, I am trying to remember all of them. One is service, one is gifts, one is affirmations, one is quality time together, right? And if you're not providing me with my love language, like if I need your company, but you're giving me gifts, I'm not happy. Doesn't that sound ridiculous? I think it's very ridiculous. So from a state of knowing that that's what our mind habitually does and finds excuses for not being happy. Most of the time we do find excuses for not being happy. I bet you can name right now all the times in this week that you were not happy because of what somebody else did or said to you. I bet you could name at least 5 to 10 things this week, right? Can you also name any of the things that made you happy this week? What made you what created happiness within you and you went, "Oh, I feel so happy. I feel so joyful right now. I feel so, you know, just alive and just so fulfilled and so blessed." How many moments were them, did you experience that this week? I bet you didn't find as many of those as you did the other way. But that's human nature. I mean, we listen to the news, I don't listen to the news personally, but when you do listen to the news and you see all the unhappiness in the world, I love this statement. I can't be happy if the rest of the world is unhappy. Have you heard that statement? How can I be happy when the world is suffering? Or I'm only as happy as my most depressed child or whatever. I think there's a weird expression like that. I'm only as happy as right as my happiest child. But that's why we make it predicated on somebody else. We look outside ourselves for our own happiness. Well, if we do that, we look outside for ourselves for our own happiness. We're also looking outside for ourselves for our own unhappiness. Right? Because as people, we live in duality. That's plain and simple. We live in right and wrong and good and bad and my opinion, my concept, my identity, my expectations. And if you're not meeting my expectations, I'm not happy. Right. Let's say that, I love these events. I love holidays, don't you? Because on holidays, we're expected to go to our relatives. We go to our relatives with the expectation of all kinds of things happening during that time. We have this story already worked out. Oh boy, here it goes again. I have to sit at the kiddie table. I have to talk to my Aunt Norma. Right? The scenarios of what happened before and what's going to happen at the next party. Or even your birthday, right? You have an expectation of having a beautiful, happy time on your birthday. And what happens? You have an expectation. Can you ever satisfy that expectation of you being happy on your birthday? How many birthdays have you had where you go, that wasn't a good birthday. I never want to have a birthday again. Yeah, I mean, that's the mind projection into the future, worrying about how it's going to be and how if it will meet my happiness meter, if it will make me happy, I'd love it, but probably it won't because we have this negativity about ourselves. It's interesting. When you watch your mind and you watch your patterning, you can see it play out. So I would like to take a short break from to welcome and appreciate our sponsors. But then for those people on the call with me, I would like to have you ask me some questions. So think about the questions you want to ask when we return. This is Moment to Moment on WLTK-DB.
This is WLTK-DB Talk Radio.
Come see our new station shop for some amazing top quality merchandise. There is something for everyone, like blankets, electronics, clothing, and much more. Head on over to WLTK-DB.com and click Shop to show your support by sporting our logo. The WLTK-DB Station Shop at WLTK-DB.com. Paranormal talk is our business, and business is good. Want to see your video here? Sponsor WLTK-DB Talk Radio and watch us make that happen. With your paid sponsorship of $80, you receive a professional produced audio, video, and banner placement on our station. Not only does your sponsorship air during our live shows, but also replayed on our podcast and heard by hundreds of like-minded people. Visit WLTK-DB.com to get started and find out just how hard we work to get you noticed.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.
Welcome back to Moment. What were you doing this last moment? Curious. Were you running out to get some coffee or some water, or were you thinking about a little bit about what I was saying about happiness? That happiness can be achieved by being still. That's the next beautiful statement I'm going to say, is that happiness within the personal condition, pattern, behavior is not achievable for any period of longevity. I mean, it's very short-lived. And it usually has a lot of drama around it, a lot of conceptual belief systems around what makes you happy, what doesn't make you happy, right? So we explore that by being the witness of it. When we witness our mind and say, I'm not happy right now, say to yourself, who's not happy? Who's not being happy? I know that sounds very funny, right? Because you're saying, of course, it's me. It's me. And, Lynda, I'm not happy right now. Really? Who's really speaking? Because we're really not in the conversation of the personal identity. We're really here to learn that we need to transcend this personal identity with this egoic mind that's telling you you're not happy. That's the show. That is the higher consciousness that we are, is what we're looking to achieve in this lifetime. Otherwise, you're going to just be habituated, patterned for the rest of your existence on this planet without even knowing that you are a wakeful, conscious, loving, peaceful, perfect being. That's who you are. That's who you are. It's time to ask yourself, who am I? Who am I? And as we chanted, I am. In the Bible, God spoke to Moses saying, I am that I am. Ehiyah, Asher Ehiyah. I am that I am. Moses said, who do I call you to the people of Israel? Right? God said, I am. Because God is presence. God's formless. God's not a he or a she or an it. Male, female, boy, girl. It does not have a form. It does not have an identity. It's not like one of us. And when we portray God as a vengeful God or a parent or this or whatever, God is formless. And so for us to meditate and be in that place of presence, we are aligned with God in that harmonious place of stillness. And that's the beauty of this knowing, is that we are it. We are complete and we are whole. And in this beautiful place, this is where the joy is. This is where the happiness is, because you are that. You are that. And you are the peace also. Whatever word, concept, word you want to use, that is it. You don't say, I am a title or a name or a profession or an occupation or any of that. That is the identity. The I am has no title, has no sex, has no personal agenda. It just is. And it's eternal. It's always been here. It is higher consciousness that you are aligned with, that can see, yes, you can see the ego mind, you can see the feelings and emotions and unhappiness that arises in this body. You can feel that, this is a body, but you are not your body, and you are not your mind concepts, but you are the witness of it. You are witnessing that and understanding that you are not identified as that. So when we go back to the personal agenda with this unhappiness, happiness thing going on, right? The person is attached to that experience and wanting it to be different. That's it. You want that experience to be different, because if it's different, then you'll be happy. You didn't accept that experience. You are not accepting that experience in the now. That's what unhappiness is. If you really want to get to the nitty-gritty of it, have you ever been in the moment perfectly happy? Didn't want it to be anything other than this. Fully engaged in all the senses and saying, wow, this is gorgeous. This is a perfect moment. And then all of a sudden, the mind comes in and says, it's time to leave. You got too much work to do. You got to forget the walk. Go home, make your phone calls, do your work. You know how that feels, right? But guess what? You can still be that stillness and that presence even when the mind chatter comes. And you could still be doing your work with that witnessing, with the witness that you are. And it streams more. There's a clarity around what you do. There is a flow. There's a joy in everything you do. Everything, because it's all perfect in the moment. Because you are perfection. That this alignment, this harmony with God or universe or source, whatever you want to call that conceptual word, that place of presence is perfect. And so everything that streams from this body experience flows into an experience that, your day is going so well and you're feeling joyful in everything you do, and you're receiving phone calls and you're making beautiful progress, whatever, because your mind is not distracting you. It's not sabotaging you. It's not judging. It's not complaining. It's just being. And it's, again, in the flow of what is already ordained for you, what is already perfect and is perfectly unfolding. And the unfolding of it is God's grace, universe, source, whatever it is. And I love the word God because I have no attachment to it. I just know it to be infinite and eternal. So whatever word flows with you, that alignment of knowing that you are connected to that stream is the ultimate joy. And so it doesn't need any conditions. It will never disrupt this joy. There's nothing that will affect this presence that you are. Because what? You're not identified. There's nobody there to push your buttons because you're not identified with the person who has a lot of buttons to push. Have you noticed? Have you noticed when you start to identify as the person who has a lot of wants and desires and opinions and judgments, the word judgment always comes up. It is that judging the moment and saying, this is not good. This is not flowing. This is not, I got to leave. I don't like this group. I don't like this conversation. I want my sleep. Whatever the voice is saying. They are not accepting this moment for the beauty of it, period. But you can understand that from a place of presence, that this place is divine. This place is perfect because it is now. It is now, and there's nothing more perfect than the now. But How many of us use this now to do something else? Wait a second, this is too quiet, this is too still, this is too beautiful. There's no activity here, there's no drama. We need to shake it up. That's what the mind is saying. I'm bored, or whatever it says. But if you really realize the presence that you are, there, stillness is not boring. Stillness is, there's a spaciousness, there's a completeness, there's a holiness to it. And that becomes your default. That will become your default the more you embrace the power of now. And this is a perfect transition into a video that I'm going to share with you on happiness by Eckhart Tolle, who wrote the book, The Power of Now. So hang in there with me as I beautifully introduce him and share the video. And if you want to take notes, please do. All right. We're going to share. And I'm going to go up here.
I have been looking for happiness for 20 years now. I've done everything correctly, everything I was supposed to do, but I can't find happiness or joy. Please help. I'm glad you asked the question. The answer, of course, is very simple. You have to give up your search for happiness, because it hasn't worked in 20 years, so it's not going to work in the next 20 years. The very search for happiness prevents you from finding the happiness that is available to you already. Because the search for happiness implies that you're not fully inhabiting with your conscious attention this moment, and you cannot fully accept it because it is judged as in some way lacking. The present moment is judged as something lacking here, always. And the search for happiness implies you're looking for some future state. You imagine yourself at some point in the future when you're going to be happy. Happiness as such is also a strange term. I don't use it usually to really point to the state of connectedness with your essential identity in the present moment. That perhaps a more suitable word for that would be joy, a joyous sense of aliveness, a quiet but intense sense of aliveness and joy and peace. Some people may call that happiness. Ramana Maharshi, the Indian spiritual teacher, a great teacher who lived in the 40s, 50s, he used the word happiness to talk about this. But when he uses the word happiness, he does not mean the happiness, the conventional way in which this word is used. So he says, happiness is your true nature. So you just have to find your true nature, and then you find happiness. And what he means is find the essence of who you are, and then you have that state of joyous aliveness that some people call happiness. At least peace, an inner peace, not a dead peace, not the peace of unconsciousness or drunkenness. Are you peaceful? Yeah. Not that one. The peace where you have risen above thought, not fallen below thought. The vertical dimension again. So, what to do? You give up your search for happiness and give more attention to the present moment. And don't look for happiness in the present moment. Don't look for anything. Just be with the present moment and make it your friend. You might as well, since there's nothing else, ever. And since your entire life is experienced as the present moment, you might as well have a friendly attitude towards it. It is your entire life. It can only be experienced in and as the present moment. Even memories. You remember something that once was the present moment, and you remember it in the present moment. If it hadn't happened in the present moment when it happened, it couldn't have happened. And you couldn't remember it if it weren't the present moment now. Don't try to work that out mentally. So everything is your entire life is only ever now. And so by appreciating the now, becoming friendly with the now, aligning yourself with the now, your life unfolds differently. And you appreciate the little things. Instead of thinking of the big things that would make you happy if you could only achieve them, including the idea of enlightenment, or whatever else it is, those big things that are going to make me happy, instead, appreciate whatever is here in the present moment. And then you may find one day that listening to the leaves of a tree moved by the wind, that sound suddenly makes you happy. And you may find looking at the sky suddenly makes you happy. To become aware that you're breathing and to feel the aliveness within the body makes you happy. Touching paper that has been in the sauna for a while and the soft touch of it, everything suddenly is fine and good. And if something unpleasant arises, as it sometimes does, of course, if action is possible, you take action towards changing the situation or removing yourself from the situation. If that either is not possible or not possible yet, then you simply practice acceptance of what is, instead of generating unhappiness about what is. And even if action is possible, the basis is, well, this is what is. Now what can I do about it? Well, this is what is. There's still an acceptance of what is. And then that acceptance of what is, that before would have been judged as highly undesirable, instead of making you unhappy, produces more depth in you. Because more acceptance means more depth, a greater depth in you, vertical dimension. So you appreciate the good things in all the little good things. They're continuously arising around you. So you practice that, gratitude for all that, appreciation of all the little things. And then happiness arises. And when something not good happens, or the mind says it's not good, or it is actually unpleasant, really unpleasant, acceptance. And that can take you even deeper than the little good things. One big bad thing can take you quickly deeper than many good things by accepting. Accepting means the egoic structures that create continuous resistance subside, and this gap opens up. And you, as a person, the ego lives in and through resistance in one form or another. You, as a person, suddenly give way, dissolve, become transparent, and then something deeper arises, is there. And that is what Jesus called the peace that passes all understanding, because you cannot figure out the relationship in your mind between this so-called bad event and the peace you feel. The reason, of course, being, now I'm explaining it to you so you can actually understand it. The peace that passes all understanding is this relationship. And normally a good thing produces inner peace or happiness, and here a bad thing produces an even greater, much greater inner peace and happiness. And that is because it, through acceptance, it causes the ego, which is a mind-made self, to get out of the way, dissolve, become very much weaker, become transparent instead of dense, and then your essence identity as consciousness itself shines through. In other words, the ripple, which is the ripple on the ocean, lives on the horizontal dimension. All ripples are on the horizontal dimension. But when the life becomes too unpleasant for the ripple, that may force the ripple to become aware of that which is beyond the vertical dimension. Oh. So more present moment awareness instead of looking for happiness, appreciating the many beautiful things, and then also gradually becoming aware of your presence, which ultimately is what the now is. It is the presence of consciousness, the space in which everything happens, and you are that.
So I hope you took some notes because there was a lot that he communicated. And you can go on YouTube and you can find Eckhart Tolle just by Googling Eckhart Tolle and what is happiness. I hope you did learn something from that. I think that it does go beyond the mind. In other words, if you're trying to grasp these concepts or ideas of what it means to be the presence that you are, or living in the moment, or being that consciousness that's beyond this body mind, the mind does not get this information. It doesn't process it. It does not, it denies it because it doesn't want you to forget it. And like Eckhart said, it becomes less and less when you can witness your thought and not give it power. So the next time you feel unhappy, something, your body's going, I'm not, or your mind is saying, I'm just not happy. ask yourself, who are you talking? Who's talking? Who's saying they're not happy? Ask yourself that. And you'll say, again, well, it's me. It's, Lynda, it's Larry, it's Todd, it's whoever. I'm just not happy. And you have to realize that it's your identity that's not happy. It's your person with a personal agenda, a personality, identity that's not happy. Okay. And you can witness that, because who witnesses that identity? There's something conscious that's witnessing that feeling of unhappiness, that mind that's saying you're unhappy, right? There's something that is even behind the lens of perception that's looking at that feeling of unhappiness. That is your consciousness. Nothing else can happen in this world, in this reality, without knowing you're conscious first. So realize, by being in the present moment, this moment, as Eckhart said, is all you have. You better be friendly with it. You better make friends with it. Say, I love you moment. I love you now. I love me now. I love the world now. I love the people in the world now. I appreciate this moment for what it is. And when the resistance happens, that's where unhappiness is. But when we accept, as Eckhart says, accept it and appreciate it. 2 big A's: acceptance and appreciation. And allowing, another A, allowing it to be exactly the way it is now. And that is the work, if you want to call it the work. That is the work to awakening. Oh, another A. Another opportunity to awaken. When we realize that what we are seeing is not us. What Mooji would say about that is, and I love Mooji, Mooji, when Mooji says, if you see a thought, okay, when that thought goes, if you were that thought, you'd also be gone, right? If you were that experience, if you were that in that moment of being unhappy, if you were so attached to that unhappiness that you felt, wow, I am an unhappy person. I will always be unhappy. That's who I am. Do you know some people like that? They're so attached to their unhappiness. You really don't want to be around a person like that, because everything they see is unhappy. I'm unhappy and I will always be unhappy. They are attached to that belief system within themselves that whatever happens in this world, it'll never be good enough. Oh yeah, there are people like that. They hold so close to that identity and that concept, they can't break free. Because what are they trapped? They're trapped in a mind concept, in a perpetual loop of unhappiness. That's hell. That is a living hell. And when you are not that, when you can see that, hey, I'm not that, I am this. I am the happiness of source. I am in this beautiful place of the moment that is perfection. Everything is perfect here. And the mind is going, I'm sure some of you are going, what is she smoking? I just don't understand. What is she on? That is the ego mind saying, that's an impossibility. She can't be happy all the time. Forget that. Well, of course she can't be happy all the time if she's the person. I'll admit it. If I'm Lynda Hope, I'm very negative. That mindset, that habitual attitude of those thoughts that come into the mind of that person, I'll include myself, as a personal identity, is mischievous. And it'll try to self-sabotage you every time. You're going to look for something that be not liking. You're going to go out to dinner and you're going to order something that you were really looking forward to. And you were building it all the way up and saying, oh, I can't wait to get that good piece of steak. I'm a vegetarian, but I'm just pretending here. So that beautiful piece of steak, I'm going to eat that. I'm going to devour it. I'm going to be so happy. What happens? It's not the way you envisioned it to be. No, it's not. Your imagination, I can tell your juices were flowing, your mouth was full of saliva. Oh my God, you were just sitting down at this most beautiful table and you saw it in front of you and you tasted it and you went, oh boy, I really thought this was going to be better than that. We do that a lot, don't we? We expect so many things, so much perfection in our life, and we fall short because we build it up and build up and put it up on a pedestal. We do that with people too. We put people up on a pedestal until we realize they're only people. They're only human, and they've got their foibles, and they've got their flaws, and their imperfections. Why? Because we do. As humans, we don't have a clue. We are sleepwalking through life, reacting to all kinds of distractions, outside opinions of us, the news, everything that comes bombarding, information overload that overpowers our senses. We can't make sense of it as a person. We're trying to figure out what's right, what's wrong, because we live in duality. Is there any peace in that? Is there any peace in that chaos? We're living in a chaotic world as a person identified with these ideas and expectations of what we want life to be for us, attached to everything we own, possessions, thoughts, thought forms, our emotions, very much attached to emotions, pattern behaviors from the past that keep creating all kinds of drama in our life. And we love the stories that we tell as people because we're our stories, aren't we? And we love to tell all the juicy ones to everybody we see. There's a lot of chaos as a human, but as a being, there's a stillness, there's a calmness, there's a knowing that we are harmony with the divine. There's a clarity. There's no more judgments going on in this mind body. There's a purity about it. Some people would say that people have person poison, because when we perceive something, it's our perception of what we think that is. When we look at something, we have a perception. Our judging thoughts come in, and we cloud really what the reality of the whole situation is. A person could be saying something very genuine to us, like, "Oh, you look beautiful today," and you'll take it like, "What are you talking about? My hair looks terrible. You must be crazy. I think I look horrible." We can take people's beautiful, honest opinions of us and turn it upside down. Or somebody can say something very innocently and we jump at them. For what reason? We don't know, because all of a sudden it's bringing up some feeling from the past, some kind of a trigger that we don't even know we're aware of. Again, there's a lot of complexity in the human, a lot of noise, a lot of misunderstanding, miscommunication, because of the way we live in duality, and we're so habituated with our responses that we continue to repeat the same drama over and over again. So I think I'm making sense to you if you understand that the world in that particular situation, it's hard to feel happy and content and find peace within the busyness of the turmoil of the world. But what is the solution? What is the solution? What is your solution? What is the ultimate transformation that can occur within you? What can occur within you right now? What can you do right now? You can wake up to who you really are. That's what you can do. You can take a breath You could breathe in to this place of spaciousness within yourself, in a place of quiet and calm, in that stillness of now. This can happen throughout your day. It just starts with the now. It's just you're realizing the importance, first of all, of the now experience. Being centered in the now allows you space to view, to witness whatever's happening on the outside outside you. You can see it, but you don't have to attach to it. You can just allow it to unfold and to be accepting of it. Acceptance, appreciation in the moment. So if you want to call this homework, let's do some homework here. First of all, when you wake up in the morning, gratitude, big thing. Open your eyes in the morning. Look out in the day and say thank you. Thank you for another day of a beautiful day of knowing who I am. You can just start very simply. Thank you for this opportunity to discover another day of who I am, to remember again who I am. And then find the quietness within yourself before you put your feet on the floor to identify this spacious place, this awakened sense of aliveness within this body. And if you want to say to yourself, I will allow this day to unfold in the perfection that it is. And as much to my ability in this day, in this now, is to stay as now as much as possible. In other words, enjoy with your senses the now experience and honor it. And if your mind comes up and starts to distract you, again, as the witness, you can allow those thoughts, but don't hook onto them. Don't let that distract you. The only thought that really hangs on is if it has some kind of importance to the person. If there is an important thought there and your person gets a little bit triggered or it gets, feeling emotional, that means it's hit a nerve of some sort. Then look at it. Say, that triggered me somehow. I'm feeling a little anxious, or I'm feeling fearful, or mostly, if you're angry, it's usually fear-based. So, or I'm feeling like sad. There's a sadness there. It's okay because it's in the now and you are experiencing those emotions now. But what you can do is feel that emotion, allow it to be felt, know that is the person experiencing that you can still be the witness of that, and bring compassion to it, bring love to it, and let it pass, because it will. Because as we know, everything comes and it goes in the personal realm. Experiences, emotions, thought patterns, they all come and go. Nothing is permanent except who you really are, which is the I am presence of you. The I am is eternal, and it is ever present in everything we do. And you are already that. How do you awaken to realize that? Well, it is a knowing, and there is a remembering, and there is a practice of every day, every moment, being here as much as possible in the now moment to moment. So join me next Tuesday on Moment to Moment and do your homework. See how present and awake you can be in that place of now throughout your day. And please share with us in this community to also help us to further deepen our understanding. And you can also go to my website, lyndahope.com, and view what Lynda Hope is doing on the personal level. Okay. Enjoy that website. Also, my foundation, my charity called Alum Foundation. You can find it on Facebook. Very exciting to be able to unify creatives to inspire the world. And as creatives, which we all are, we welcome you as a member or as somebody that wishes to support the cause of bringing creativity into this beautiful place of the now. As Einstein would say, creativity is intelligence having fun. He also says creativity is contagious. Pass it on. So who's to argue with Einstein? I'm just saying. So please enjoy your moment, accept it, appreciate it, and allow it to be the way it is, because it is perfect. We'll see you next week on Moment to Moment on WLTK-DB Talk Radio. Namaste.